When is the last time your eye doctor looked you in the eyes and said, "Let me show you exactly what is happening inside your eye right now, and here is what you can do about it starting today at home"? I'm going to guess that never happened. Instead, you walked out with a new prescription, maybe a sample bottle of drops and a smile at the front desk. And I say that not to criticize your doctor, because I am a doctor and I know exactly why it happens that way. Appointments are 12 minutes long. 12 minutes to cover your history, your medications, your concerns, and still get you out the door on time. But that 12-minute window is exactly why you are here watching this right now, because nobody has ever sat with you woman to woman and walked you through what the research says may actually be happening to your vision after 60. And more importantly, what one tiny seed available in every grocery store in America may be able to do nutritionally for your eyes that no one has ever told you about. And no, it is not a carrot. It is not kale. It is not whatever the wellness influencers are posting this week. By the time we finish today, you are going to understand the biological processes researchers associate with declining eye health after 60. You are going to understand why the drops you have been faithfully using every day have real limits in what they can address. And you are going to learn about a seed based nutritional approach that works at the cellular level in a way most people over 60 have simply never been told about. Before we go further, I would love to know who I am talking to today. Drop your name and where you are watching from in the comments below. I read every single one, and it genuinely matters to me who I am helping. Stay with me. This one is important. Here is something researchers have documented that almost no one outside of very specific biochemistry circles ever discusses. Starting in your sixth decade of life, your eye begins losing a critical protective compound at a rate your body simply cannot keep pace with. Not slowly, not in a way your body quietly compensates for. A measurable, accelerating decline. Research published in the journal Amino Acids by Sturmer and Kunze in 1999 first brought wide attention to the fact that carnosine related compounds fall by more than half across the lifespan in the tissues that depend on them most. The compound is called N-acetylcarnosine, and you have almost certainly never heard of it, which honestly is part of the problem. N-acetylcarnosine is a dipeptide, a tiny protein building block that exists almost exclusively in the aqueous humor of your eye. That is the clear fluid that fills the space between your cornea and your lens. Think of it as the cleaning fluid your eye uses to keep its internal mechanics flushed, lubricated, and clear. When N-acetylcarnosine levels are healthy, that fluid does its job beautifully. It neutralizes oxidative damage. It keeps the proteins inside your lens properly organized, lined up the way they are supposed to be, so light passes through cleanly and your vision stays sharp. But when those levels drop, which they do every single year after 60, something called cross-linking begins. The proteins inside your lens start bonding to each other in ways they were never designed to. They clump, they tangle, they scatter incoming light instead of focusing it. That is not a metaphor. That is the actual structural event behind cataracts, behind progressive blur, behind the haze that makes the world look like you are watching everything through a smudged windshield on a foggy morning. And here is what I find so frustrating on behalf of every woman I have ever seen in my clinic. The standard eye drop, the one your doctor gives you, the one you pick up at the pharmacy, is designed primarily to address the surface of your eye, the cornea, the tear film, the outer layer. But the structural changes researchers associate with age related vision decline are happening deeper, inside the lens, inside the aqueous humor. And the anatomy of your eye means that standard surface drops have significant limitations reaching those interior structures. They address comfort, they do not address what is happening structurally underneath. So, you have been faithfully applying drops twice a day, feeling mildly better for 20 minutes, and then wondering why your optometrist notes keep saying the same word: progressing. It is not your fault. Nobody explained the geography. Now, let me walk you through what the research suggests and why one small seed may change the nutritional picture for your eyes in a way nothing else quite does. In 2009, a research team led by biochemist Enrico Rizzarelli published a landmark study in the American Chemical Society journal Biochemistry. It barely made the news because it did not involve a drug, so nobody had a financial reason to amplify it. What they found was remarkable. In laboratory conditions, they exposed healthy lens tissue to conditions that replicate the protein damage of aging, and they found that the presence of carnosine not only appeared to prevent the main structural protein in the lens, alpha crystalline, from forming the abnormal clumps associated with cataracts. It also appeared to help disassemble clumps that had already formed, with some tissue samples showing restored lens transparency after clouding had already begun. Let me say that again in plain language. In that laboratory setting, lenses that had already started going cloudy showed signs of clearing, not just stopped getting worse. The researchers observed actual movement toward greater clarity. Now, these were tissue culture results, not human clinical trials, and I want you to hold that distinction carefully. But the mechanism is real, and it is the foundation for why this nutritional approach is so compelling to researchers. Here is where it connects directly to what you are going to eat this week. That carnosine protection mechanism your lens depends on runs on fuel. And the two nutrients that supply that fuel most directly are gamma tocopherol, a specific form of vitamin E, and a plant compound called sesamin. Think of it this way: carnosine is the shield, and sesamin amplified vitamin E is what keeps that shield charged. Sesamin acts as a natural amplifier of vitamin E activity inside your tissue. Published research has documented that sesamin inhibits the liver enzyme responsible for breaking down vitamin E, effectively extending how long and how powerfully vitamin E operates inside your body, including inside your ocular tissue. The richest dietary source of both sesamin and gamma tocopherol together is not a pharmaceutical. It is not a $60 supplement. It is a seed, a tiny, flat, golden brown seed that most of us have sitting in our pantry right now, using only as a topping on bread: sesame seeds. But, and this is critical, not the sesame seeds you are currently eating. The way almost everyone prepares them may significantly reduce the very compounds that make them nutritionally valuable. And I am going to show you exactly how to fix that in just a few minutes. But first, I need to give you the full picture. Because sesame alone is powerful, but it is only the beginning. There are 5 other seeds that address biological mechanisms sesame cannot touch. And I have ranked all 6 from least to most nutritionally compelling, so you know exactly where to put your energy. Seed number 6: poppy seeds, baseline support. Do not rely on these alone. Poppy seeds appear on almost every eye health list, and the reason is zinc. 1 tablespoon contains about zero point 0.9 milligrams of zinc, a mineral your retina needs in higher concentrations than almost any other tissue in your body. The problem is that number assumes 100% absorption. In reality, raw poppy seeds are coated in phytic acid, an anti-nutrient that binds to zinc in your digestive tract and carries it right back out. Harvard's T.H. Chan School of Public Health identifies phytic acid as one of the primary inhibitors of zinc and iron absorption in seeds and grains, and studies suggest you may be absorbing as little as 30 to 40% of what the label promises. The fix is simple. Soak poppy seeds in warm water for 6 to 8 hours before using them. The phytic acid breaks down, zinc absorption improves. Then sprinkle them over yogurt or oatmeal and eat them within the hour. Do not cook them after soaking. Heat after hydration degrades the zinc further. Even with proper preparation, poppy seeds are nutritional maintenance, not a frontline strategy. Think of them as foundational support while you build the rest of this protocol. Seed number 5: black sesame seeds, underrated, and almost nobody prepares these correctly. Most people know white or tan sesame seeds, the ones on burger buns. Black sesame seeds are nutritionally different in meaningful ways. They contain anthocyanins, the same family of pigments behind the vision protecting reputation of blueberries, alongside substantial amounts of vitamin E, zinc, and potent antioxidant lignans. A 2023 study published in the Journal of Microbiology and Biotechnology by Park and colleagues found that anthocyanins, the exact class of compounds concentrated in black sesame seeds, appeared to support protection of human retinal pigment epithelial cells from oxidative damage in laboratory conditions, raising cell viability from 54% to approximately 86% under induced oxidative stress. That is a cell culture study, not a human clinical trial. But the protective association in retinal tissue is a meaningful finding researchers take seriously. The preparation mistake most people make is eating them raw, sprinkled over salads. Raw black sesame seeds have a fibrous outer hull your digestive system cannot fully break down. You are chewing them, but they are passing through mostly intact, and you are getting very little of the nutritional benefit. Grind them. A coffee grinder, 15 seconds. 1 tablespoon of freshly ground black sesame seeds stirred into warm water with a small amount of honey. That is the traditional preparation used in East Asian medicine for centuries, and it is traditional because generations of practice suggested it worked better. Grinding ruptures the hull. The anthocyanins become bioavailable. 1 tablespoon ground stirred into warm water every morning. Simple, inexpensive, and far more effective than sprinkling whole seeds on top of your lunch. Seed number 4, pumpkin seeds, the lutein delivery system. Better than most people realize, but slower than anyone wants. If you have ever had a retinal scan and been told your macular pigment density is declining, I want you to pay close attention here. The macula is the central part of your retina responsible for sharp, detailed vision. It is protected by two specific pigments, lutein and zeaxanthin. They function like internal sunglasses, absorbing harmful blue light before it can reach and damage the delicate photoreceptors underneath. After 60, macular pigment density drops. Blue light damage accumulates unchecked, and in real life, that looks like words blurring in the center of your visual field, faces being easier to recognize in your peripheral vision than when you look directly at them, night driving becoming progressively harder. Pumpkin seeds are one of the most concentrated plant sources of lutein and zeaxanthin available. But, and this is the same caution I give every patient, if you eat them from the bag, raw or dry roasted at high heat, you are losing a significant portion of that benefit. The correct preparation: soak raw pumpkin seeds overnight in water with a squeeze of lemon. The citric acid breaks down the phytic acid that blocks mineral absorption. Then spread them flat and dry them in your oven at the lowest possible setting for about 2 hours. They will be dry, slightly crisp, and nutritionally available in a way the store bought version never is. Results with lutein and zeaxanthin are slow. You will not feel a difference in a week. But at the 90-day mark, some research has shown associations with measurable improvements in macular pigment optical density in adults who consistently consume these compounds. Your retina may be receiving more of the nutritional support it needs to maintain that protective pigment layer. If you are still here with me and finding this helpful, take a moment and type the number 4 in the comments. It lets me know you are watching and that this is landing for you. Seed number 3, ground flaxseed, the tear film seed, the one that can show results overnight. Let me describe something a former patient told me. She said, "Every morning I wake up and my eyes feel like sandpaper for the first 45 minutes. I put in drops, and by noon, they feel like sandpaper again." If that sounds like your mornings, this seed is for you. Chronic dry eye is not simply a moisture problem, it is a lipid layer problem. Your tear film has 3 layers, and the outermost one is an oily lipid layer secreted by small glands along your eyelid margins. When that lipid layer is thin or poorly formed, tears evaporate too quickly. The surface of your eye dries out. Every blink feels like friction. Ground flaxseed is one of the richest plant sources of alpha linolenic acid, an omega 3 fatty acid your body converts into EPA and DHA, the two compounds your eyelid glands use to produce a healthy, stable lipid layer. A 2023 systematic review and meta analysis published in Nutrients analyzed 19 randomized controlled trials covering more than 4,200 patients with dry eye disease. The findings consistently suggested that omega 3 supplementation, the same type delivered by ground flaxseed, was associated with meaningful improvements in tear film stability, tear breakup time, and overall dryness symptoms compared to placebo. Positive associations across nearly every measure tested, and unlike the macular effects of pumpkin seeds, dry eye relief from flaxseed often begins within 3 to 5 days, sometimes faster. Two critical rules. First, grind whole flax seeds yourself right before eating. Pre ground flaxseed from the store has already oxidized. The omega 3 content has degraded. You are buying something that looks like medicine, but mostly is not anymore. Second, eat it with fat. Alpha linolenic acid is fat soluble. Without fat present in the same meal, your body absorbs only a fraction of what it could. 2 tablespoons of freshly ground flaxseed over half an avocado or stirred into full fat yogurt. The fat matters. Third, consistency is everything. Skip more than 2 days in a row, and your tear film stability begins declining again. Your body does not store these fatty acids long. Seed number 2, hemp seeds, the anti inflammation seed, the one almost nobody is talking about in women's health circles. Here is something that does not get nearly enough attention. A significant portion of what we call age related vision loss is not simply age. It is chronic low grade inflammation that has been quietly accumulating in ocular tissue for decades. And after 60, the body's ability to regulate that inflammation deteriorates sharply. Inflammatory damage in the retina disrupts the blood retinal barrier. Inflammatory cytokines damage the delicate nerve fibers of the optic nerve. Inflammation in the trabecular meshwork, the eye's natural drainage system, contributes to elevated intraocular pressure. This is the often overlooked factor researchers believe may be quietly driving conditions like glaucoma progression, diabetic retinopathy, and the general visual dimness that so many women simply chalk up to getting older. Hemp seeds contain something nutritionally unique. A naturally balanced 3-to-1 ratio of omega 6 to omega 3 fatty acids. That ratio matters because your body's inflammatory response is directly governed by the balance between these two fatty acid families. The modern Western diet pushes that ratio toward 15 to 1, sometimes 20 to 1 omega 6. That imbalance is pro inflammatory at the cellular level. Hemp seeds help bring that ratio back toward balance through a specific fatty acid called gamma linolenic acid, or GLA. Research published in the European Journal of Pharmacology has documented that GLA may inhibit pro inflammatory pathways and suppress cytokines TNF alpha and IL-6, the same inflammatory signals some research associates with retinal tissue stress and the progression of age related macular changes. And unlike flaxseed, hemp seeds require no preparation at all. No grinding, no soaking, no extra equipment on your counter, 2 tablespoons over yogurt, oatmeal, or a smoothie. They taste mild and slightly nutty. Most women find them genuinely easy to enjoy. One important note: if you are on blood thinning medications like warfarin, please speak with your doctor before adding hemp seeds regularly, as omega 3s can influence clotting times. For everyone else, this is one of the simplest, most underused additions to eye health available to you right now. Seed number 1, white sesame seeds. Prepared the right way, the sesamin and vitamin E amplification system, the one that works from the inside out. We have come full circle. I told you at the beginning of this video how the lens loses its ability to neutralize oxidative damage, how crystalline proteins begin cross linking and clouding vision at the structural level. And I told you that sesame seeds had a unique mechanism for addressing this from the inside. Here is the complete picture. White sesame seeds contain one of the highest concentrations of sesamin found in any common food. Sesamin is a lignan, a naturally occurring plant compound. And what it does inside your body is something most nutritionists have completely missed. Sesamin inhibits the liver enzyme, cytochrome P450, that is responsible for breaking down gamma tocopherol, which is the most biologically active form of vitamin E in your tissue. Research published in the Journal of Nutrition by Kamal Eldon and colleagues documented this mechanism directly. Sesamin effectively extends the active lifespan of vitamin E inside your body by slowing its metabolic breakdown. You are not just consuming vitamin E, you are keeping the vitamin E you already have working longer and more powerfully. And here is why that matters specifically for your lens. Vitamin E is the primary fat soluble antioxidant your lens uses to neutralize lipid peroxidation, the chain reaction oxidative damage that causes crystalline proteins to cross link and cloud your vision. The landmark AREDS data, the age related eye disease study, established that higher serum vitamin E levels are associated with meaningfully lower rates of cataract progression in adults over 60. Sesame seeds deliver both the gamma tocopherol your lens needs and the sesamin that extends its protective effect in tissue. No other common seed delivers this combination. But here is where preparation determines everything. Step 1. Toast raw white sesame seeds in a dry pan over medium heat for exactly 2 to 3 minutes, stirring constantly. You want them lightly golden, not brown. This breaks down the phytic acid coating and frees the amino acids for absorption. Step 2, let them cool completely. Then grind half of them coarsely using a mortar and pestle or a small grinder. Leave the other half whole. The combination of whole and ground creates a staggered release into your system, slower and faster absorption working together. Step 3, eat 1 tablespoon of this blend every morning with a source of vitamin C. Fresh orange juice, sliced strawberries, half a kiwi, a squeeze of fresh lemon over your meal. Here is why the vitamin C matters so much. Vitamin C regenerates spent vitamin E molecules. After a vitamin E molecule neutralizes a free radical in your lens tissue, it becomes temporarily inactive. Vitamin C donates electrons to that spent molecule and reactivates it. So, 1 dose of vitamin E keeps cycling through its protective function for hours instead of being consumed in minutes. Sesamin extends vitamin E's life. Vitamin C recharges it. Together, you have a self renewing antioxidant system operating inside your lens tissue. This is the preparation almost nobody uses. And it is exactly why most women who have tried sesame seeds shrug and say they noticed nothing. They were eating them wrong. Let me pull this together into something you can actually follow starting tomorrow morning. Every single morning, non negotiable. 1 tablespoon of toasted, half ground white sesame seeds with a source of vitamin C, orange, kiwi, strawberries, or fresh lemon juice over your meal. This is your sesamin and vitamin E protocol. This is the one you do not skip. 4 to 5 mornings per week. 2 tablespoons of freshly ground whole flaxseed over half an avocado or stirred into full fat yogurt. This is your tear film and dry eye protocol. Daily, any time of day. 2 tablespoons of hemp seeds over whatever you are already eating. Yogurt, oatmeal, a smoothie. This is your inflammation management protocol. 3 mornings per week. A small handful of properly soaked and oven dried pumpkin seeds as a snack or topping. This is your macular pigment protocol. The mistakes that will quietly eliminate your results. Do not eat any of these seeds within 90 minutes of coffee or black tea. Tannins are anti nutrients that bind to the minerals and amino acids in seeds and carry them through your system unabsorbed. You will be doing all the work without receiving the benefit. Do not buy pre ground or pre roasted versions from a store shelf. The omega 3s oxidize, the amino acids degrade, the phytic acid remains. You are buying the wrapper without the gift inside. Do not expect dramatic changes in a week and abandon the protocol when they do not appear. Comfort changes like dryness and irritation may come relatively quickly. Nutritional support for structural lens health is a slow, cumulative process, 60 to 90 days minimum. Respect both timelines. And please do not stop prescribed medications. This protocol works alongside your doctor's care, not instead of it. I want to close with something I think matters more than any seed ranking or preparation technique. Your vision is not declining because you are broken. It is not declining because of some inevitable biological cliff you fell off when you turned 60. It may be declining in part because your eyes are receiving less of the specific compounds that used to enter the human diet naturally, compounds that existed in whole, minimally processed, traditionally prepared foods that your grandmother simply called dinner. We processed the nutrition out of the food supply, and then an entire industry was built around selling it back to us one eye drop at a time. You deserve better than that, and you deserve to hear it before things progress further, before the night driving anxiety quietly takes over, before you find yourself holding the menu at arm's length and pretending the restaurant just needs better lighting. Here is my challenge to you, woman to woman. Tonight, before you go to sleep, write down your three biggest vision complaints: the morning blur, the dry burning before noon, the halos around headlights, the struggle with small print. Rate each one from 0 to 10. Commit to the morning sesame protocol every single day for 30 days. Add the flaxseed and hemp as described. At day 30, pull out that list and rate those same complaints again. I think about a patient of mine, a 68-year-old retired nurse named Margaret. She told me she had not driven herself anywhere after dark in almost 3 years. Not because her vision failed legally, because the oncoming headlights had turned into what she described as white bursts of light that made her flinch. She was quietly embarrassed to tell her children how frightening it had become. 7 weeks into this protocol, consistent every morning without skipping, she drove herself to her son's retirement dinner. At night, alone. She called me the next morning, and the first thing she said was, "Ava, I could see the road." That is not a miracle. That is what happens when you stop treating the surface and start giving the body what it actually needs underneath. Your eyes have been waiting for the right raw materials. Give them what they need. And if this video gave you something real today, something your doctor has not had 12 minutes to say, please share it with a woman you love who is watching her vision slowly dim and wondering why nothing is helping. She deserves to hear this too. I will see you in the next one. Dr. Ava.